Guys, last year at the IBJJF European Championship, Diego Pato hit one of the cleanest Berimbolos that you're ever going to see. Here we break down technique. I really want to talk about this. The Berimbolo was probably a little bit more popular maybe like 5-10 years ago, but it's still an incredibly effective and incredibly popular sequence that a lot of people are using to take the back. We haven't had a chance to talk about it here. Let's get into this video because it's such a good example that I think fans can learn from. Okay, let's start by taking a look at this one time all the way through, seeing everything here. This is right at the beginning of the match. We are 5 seconds in, going right to a double pull, and then you're going to see the Berimbolo come in. Coming to this left side, inverting through. He's going to start to use his legs to pummel into the back. We're going to talk about a lot of this a lot more in a second. But there you see one hook already. There you see the second hook, already threatening the choke. Only 20 seconds in, Diego already leading by 4 points, threatening the choke that he's going to punch in here for a second. And he gets the clean submission win against his opponent, the tough Min-Hoo Yoon. Incredible sequence there from Diego Pato. A lot of very intricate work happening very quickly. So let's go back. Let's take a look at this a little bit slower. Some of the things that Diego was using to get this done. So it's important to remember with the Berimbolo is not one scripted sequence that you're always going to be able to follow like some other positions might be. The Berimbolo is a very reactive kind of sequence where you have to understand what your opponent's doing and you have a few different tools to kind of open up space, take space where it's appropriate, and then sink your hooks. So let's take a look at this sequence and let's start by noticing exactly how the double pull plays out and where Diego's opponent goes immediately, which is right to the single leg X. If you go to the single leg X, you're by definition working from inside position. That's very important because when you take inside position, you give away outside position, naturally. The Berimbolo is one of the strongest outside position sequences that we have in jiu-jitsu, especially from this double pull. Inside position, usually attacking like a straight ankle, going to a single leg X, trying to work from in there. Outside position, usually trying to work to more of a Berimbolo, trying to expose the back. We've seen this battle 100 times play out. Here was the Berimbolo who gets it done. Let's take a look now at Diego. His next step is going to be to start to invert over to his left shoulder. Let's see as he gets it done. There you see his hand grips across all the way to the belt. That's going to help him launch himself and roll everything over to the side. That's a very important grip. Let's in fact take a look at that one more time. Just what the grips are that he sets up here. Notice that right hand come across all the way to the belt. Some people will grab inside the pants. Like I said, it's a reactive position. There's a few different grips that can definitely work for this. But now Diego's going to start to roll to his shoulder and invert through. Now that he's on his other shoulder, he's successfully exposing the back. And he's successfully into this Berimbolo inverted position where he can start to make some stuff happen here. What's the big problem here? His opponent is going to start to recognize this, and rather than letting Diego reach up and start to expose it and climb very quickly, he's going to do a smart thing, which is throw his back flat to the mat. When your back is flat to the mat, that's when you're the safest from getting your back taken, naturally. Nobody can get there, the mat's already there, so Diego, if he wants to get to the back, is going to have to find a way to scrape his opponent up and be able to place hooks, eventually get to the shoulders and control there. This is a different sequence than what we usually see with more traditional non-inverted back takes where people are going to control the top half of the back and then use that to scrape up the lower half of the back and place hooks. Here the sequence is reversed. That's always been the magic of the Berimbolo, right? It takes the natural back taking sequence, puts it in reverse. You place the hook first, use that pull up their lower back, use that to get to the upper back, and then place your seatbelt. The seatbelt now, in this case, is one of the last things that's going to happen. So Diego, from this inverted position, is going to start to use his knee, in this case, his right knee, I believe it is, behind his opponent's knee, and he's using that to start to push his hips up. The more he can use that knee as a wedge, it's going to start to force his opponent's hips up. You can already see there, they're piked up a few inches higher than they were, and it also opens space up at the hip where Diego now replaces that wedge behind the leg to in front of the leg, where it's going to eventually turn into a hook. As he's doing that, notice where he feeds that leg to, on top of his other foot. This gives a very strong leg pressing style motion. This makes it so his opponent's not going to be able to drop his hips back down any further. All that space that knee wedge just created is now going to be controlled and maintained by the foot post that Diego switches things off to. And you can see his hands are gripping on the leg as well to keep everything secure there as he goes through these very intricate, very fast pummeling motions. There's the switch off, and there's the hook. Once he places that second hook, that lets him start to pull his opponent into his lap, doing that scraping action. that we were talking about, getting everything loaded up. From there, it's just a matter of a small hip escape out and placing his seatbelt. His opponent does a good job of trying to fight the hook, but unfortunately gets his arm trapped as Diego throws everything over and traps it with some incredible dexterity. Once that arm is trapped, this is basically worst case scenario. Diego has 2 arms that he can use to attack this choke and a lapel, and his opponent only has 1 arm to defend the entire situation. A lot of times when you see this, especially with somebody as dangerous as Diego Pato, it means it's game. Let's take a look here now. Comes across the face very quickly. There's the 4 points for the 2 hooks. He feeds the lapel from one hand to the other. And now the other hand is looking for that far lapel so that he can do more of a traditional double collar choke from the back, cross collar choke style from the back. But his opponent doesn't really let that happen. So instead, he goes a little bit caveman style with it. He's just going to take his other hand and push it against the back of his opponent's head here in a second, and use that to push everything into the choke and secure all the leverage he needed. Incredible. Let's go back and take one more look at this as he goes. And let's take a special look once he inverts here at the leg motions one more time. Here we can already see as he gets to this inverted position, he understands he needs to start scraping up the back. That knee wedges and everything feeds off to the other leg. Now that these 2 legs are working together against one leg, with his dexterity, he's able to control and place this 1 hook. Once he's placed this 1 hook, here comes the 2nd hook, here comes the seatbelt, here comes the choke. Let's just watch the sequence play out from there as we see the finish. Feeds off the lapel, or the collar rather. All in the space of about 30 seconds, Diego Pato starts his day with a beautiful Berimbolo sequence to the back. Diego Pato is one of the most dangerous finishers in jiu-jitsu, not just for his leg locks, which I feel like everybody understands. They're some of the best in the world, maybe some of the best of all time, to be honest, but also for his ability to hunt to the back and once he gets there to finish. He is somebody who, anytime you see him hit the mat, always some of the most exciting, dangerous jiu-jitsu, always some of the most interesting jiu-jitsu for us to take a look at here. My name is Joe Gilpin, this is for FloGrappling. If there are any other grapplers or techniques or positions or sequences or matches or anything like that you guys want to see us break down, make sure you drop a comment, let us know, and we will be back very soon.